From The Guardian, getting fit is great, but it could turn you into a right-wing jerk. And this is from June 3rd, 2024. Another perfect example of the stories that they constantly rerun ad nauseum, like every 6 weeks. I think I saw a screenshot of something to this effect dated 2017. So it's nonstop, and it's obviously not meant to win you over on the merits or the facts. It's meant to beat you into submission and I guess gain your favor by telling you how terrible of a person you are. We also, of course, have the eat the bugs nonsense that they're running ad nauseum. The new thing now is, of course, oh, he's a convicted felon. He's a convicted felon. He's a convicted felon.
Donald Trump, the twice impeached former president and current Republican nominee, is now running as a convicted felon.
2 words, convicted felon.
Convicted felon.
Donald Trump, twice impeached, convicted felon.
A convicted felon.
The former leader of the free world, Donald Trump, now a convicted felon.
A convicted felon.
He is now tonight a convicted felon.
And he's a felon now.
Donald Trump is a convicted felon.
Do we want to be represented, to be led for the first time in history by a convicted felon?
A former president of the United States, now a convicted felon.
You don't want a convicted felon in the Oval Office.
Donald Trump has been found guilty.
Could you say it again slower for me, please? It would be lovely.
Guilty.
Yeah.
All 34.
Could you say it again slower for me, please? It would be lovely.
I didn't want to do this.
I'm calling kangaroo court on this court.
Kangaroo court. It's a kangaroo court.
I'm calling kangaroo court because
None of it makes any sense. And there's also a lot of infighting. Like this lady here is admitting that the journalist class can't stand anybody who would be considered right-wing. But of course, even considering somebody right-wing means nothing anymore, because if you just disagree with one talking point of the establishment, that's enough to make you right-wing. And there's so much infighting, right? There's the Gaza protesters versus the LGBT parade, and then some weirdo LGBT Israel versus Palestine thing in San Francisco. It's all a complete mess. But my name's Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that fun stuff. I'm absolutely begging you.
I'm begging you, please. Come on, please.
It would help me a lot and it would cost you nothing. But if you wanted to help me even more and spend a little bit of money, go ahead and buy my book, New York City 2020, Gotham Unglued, on Amazon.com. That link will be in the description. But she says, the more self-actualized you become, the higher you are on self-righteousness, blaming other people's problems on their failure to not be as healthy as you. And look, I don't even know what that means. I for sure am not going to take health tips from this lady, who of course looks like an old college roommate of mine who was a dude. But that point aside, this is kind of reminiscent of the old meme of like the weirdo health commissioners from all around the world who look sickly as can be, but they're smart. They're science doctors. And then you have, horse dewormer Rogan, who's totally ripped. He's a conspiracy theorist. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, this is going to sound a little hypocritical, as I have hard recommended every activity and pursuit, every wellness, wheeze, and rejuvenation exercise the modern world has dreamed up. So right there in the first sentence, it's hypocritical. She's admitting that, oh yeah, right-wingers are mean, even though I'm supposed to be a journalist. And this is labeled opinion, but do you think they would let anybody who's even mildly considered right-wing write an opinion piece for The Guardian? I doubt it. So there's that admission, and then in the first sentence, it's going to sound a little hypocritical. So basically, we're not going to shoot it to you straight. We're not going to try to win you over with things that make sense. It's going to be completely hypocritical. The point here is that when we say jump, you say how high. Try hot yoga. It plugs you back into your inner child. How about a morning rave? All the cardio of a regular rave, none of the ecstasy. What's not to like? Botox? Fine. It's plastic surgery light. But also it makes you look much more friendly. Pilates, cycling, running, high intensity interval training, tough mutters, bar, aerial skills, horse riding. At some time or another, I have insisted to anyone who will listen that it's only their failure to incorporate, say, a horse into their weekly schedule that is standing between them and their best self. I don't even know what this lady's talking about, but it seems like she was all on board for fitness a little while ago, but somewhere along the line, getting fit was dangerous, and it could snap you out of their way of thinking. So they would rather have you be fat, lazy, and stupid and in on the agenda, because if you get anywhere near working out, you might realize that it's all a scam. But there is a dark side to wellness, which I always, for shorthand, thought of as political. Getting fit makes you more right-wing. That's just to say getting fit, could cause you to think clearly. The mechanism is incredibly simple. You embark on this voyage of self-improvement and more or less immediately see the results. And for the record, do you think that, Caitlin Clark, all of the WNBA stars who are incredibly fit, they're probably in the gym all day when they're not smoking vape pens, but do you think they're right-wing? But it doesn't matter. Obviously, you can't talk any sense to these people. You can't have a rational discussion with anybody, with people who are irrational, I should say. You feel stronger and more energetic, probably mood lifts, and pretty soon you think you are master of your own destiny. You're still not. By the way, destiny does not care about your step count. But until that fact catches up with you, which it may never, there you are, high on self-righteousness. You can tell this has happened to you when you start inhaling performatively, like the hero of an Ayn Rand novel. So yeah, I guess she's just, you could start, you might take charge of your own destiny, but it has nothing to do with it. Like, we need you to be dejected and lazy and stupid. And, while that's not 100% going to happen if you start working out, it could crack the door open and you might leave this cult. Inescapably, you start to situate other people's problems within their failure to be as fit as you. This is particularly true if you don't know them and they're just a bunch of numbers. All those statistics, depressed people, obese people, people with IBS, shout out to Adriana Lacerva.
Come on. No, come please. Where you fucking going? Come on. No. Come on. Please. No.
Imagine how much better they would be if only they took responsibility for their health, the way that you have. And yet, that harsh, judgmental inner voice will never be satisfied just shouting at numbers. So sooner or later, you'll turn it back on yourself. Fitness has a capitalist logic. Lady, you work for The Guardian. There's ads running all over this website. And are you against capitalism? Of course she's against capitalism. What am I talking about? So you can literally be selling ads and asking for donations to keep your stupid publication afloat, but then also be mad that you have to do that? Okay, I guess so, whatever. I guess because there's so much money in it. So nothing is ever enough. Yeah, you can say that again. As soon as you can run 5 kilometers, you want to run 10. Before you know it, you're swapping Strava stats with people you used to think were tossers. But now, miraculously, you find you have a lot in common with. Always competing, always striving for growth, even if by grow, you mean shrink. You have internalized the market, unfortunately. Also, you're getting on everyone's nerves. Well, no. You literally just said that you're swapping info with people that you once didn't like, but now you do. Right? I mean, this could actually, look, I'm not like a health nut or whatever, but it's so clearly obvious that this is just completely misdirected at best. And obviously she is projecting her own weird ideology on other people. And of course, if you start to look at things a little bit differently and you're not just a weirdo, disgusting slob eating chips and playing video games on the couch, you might actually snap out of it, and they just cannot have that. So now you're almost your best self, except you could always be better. And this is when you start eating protein the whole time. What even is protein powder? I don't mean what's it made of. I know my way around whey. I don't mean what does it taste like. As funnily enough, I quite like it, but that's only because it's the taste of pure virtue. Okay, all right. Kudos to her for admitting that she just wants to virtue signal it, even though the virtue feeling comes from eating protein. This is a mess. What does it do to your soul that it knows what virtue tastes like and is preening on it? And that's before you've hit lunch, carrying around a box of chicken thighs like it's a handbag. The only reason I can make all these insulting, highly personal remarks is that they are directed at myself. Okay, good. This is, in a weird way, good. There's a little bit of self-awareness, which, I mean, as annoying as this woman is, you can't really say for most of the journalist class. However obnoxious you've been, cycling through a red light, high on very low levels of endorphins because you weren't going that fast, I've been worse. However much you have spent on a pair of leggings, convinced that you're a yoga bunny now, a completely fresh person, calm and self-actualized, I've spent more and given up faster. However long you've spent droning on, trying to make a philosophical case for climbing a wall, I've definitely done that for longer, which is to say 5 minutes, which must have felt like 5 years. In the fullness of time, I realize it's not really a question of an unwitting slide into fascism hastened by a treadmill. These are the people that are constantly calling Donald Trump fat. Do you think he's spending all of his time on a treadmill? Do you think he's spending even 2 hours in the gym? Probably not, right? He's getting close to 80 years old, even though he doesn't look it when you compare it to Joe Biden. But I'm not sure how you're drawing this connection. It's because most gym bros or even hot chicks are fit, and we obviously just want to keep you down, and we want to keep you reliant on, I guess in this case, I think the Guardian is a UK publication, but whatever. The point is, we need you to be, angry and mopey and hate your fellow humans, but you should continue to rely on the government, I guess.
Kids, you tried your best, and you failed miserably. The lesson is, never try.
It's more that there is a fixed amount of excellence in any self, and the more you spend on your biceps, the less you have for your personality. That's just not true, and those things aren't even mutually exclusive. Wellness could turn you into a bit of a jerk, is what I'm saying. Okay, yeah, but how about this? You could also be a complete jerk and be unhealthy. So I'm not sure where the correlation is, but this is just another grain of sand on the heap that they are coming at you from every possible angle to just make sure that you obey us.